next bedding in, Neil Atkinson with Ian Ryan, Rob Gutmann and Gareth Roberts, to ask the eternal Jurgen Klopp question, which is about Jurgen and the domestic cups. So Gareth, do you think, and this is the premise of most of the show until we get on to Rob's personal arrangements, do you think that Jurgen doesn't give that much of a fuck about the domestic cups, as hard lines where the domestic cups are concerned, gets shafted by the draws where the domestic cups are concerned, or all the above?
What I was just going to say, it's a combination of all of the above, isn't it? I think your mainstream pundits always pick up on the fact that he's not arsed in inverted commas about those cups, and I don't think that's strictly true. I think some of the draws, or most of the draws, we always seem to end up with a Premier League team away as well, and you obviously it's become a thing for us that we tend to look at who Man City get, even in finals it seems, and you're just like, wow, Watford in the final, so you know what I mean? They do seem to get. I'm not into the warm balls theory and all that.
Bollocks. It's just
that's a load of shite. But the way the cards have fell have not helped Liverpool, and also as well. I don't want to derail the chat and go back to transfers again. But we're playing a different game with transfers in terms of what we're doing with depth of squad, and I think that hinders him as well. It ends up being, if he sees an opportunity to play the kids, he does take it, don't get me wrong. And it's worked for us and it's been great. That Everton match is one of the greatest matches I've ever been to in my life.
Shrewsbury at home?
Shrewsbury was fucking brilliant as well.
One of the best nights of your life, Shrewsbury at home.
Yeah, it was really good.
But there's one simple truth. Swap our draws for cities in the last 4 years. We've got, I'd say, 3 domestic cups. I'm not exaggerating. That's quite easy. How many have they got? About 7 in that time? We'd have at least 3 or 4 domestic cups. I think if I was Klopp, it'd suit me that people say we don't fancy these cups. Truth is, he fancies them exactly the same amount as 90% of the division. I.e., his priority is his league position and how he does in the Champions League. And league position is the priority of 90% of the teams, by the way, in the Premier League, from the bottom to the middle to the top. And he's
more money for where you finish in the league than winning a cup.
He's going to prioritise, and we'll come on to talk about it, the League Cup as much as Daniel Farke is going to, right? Daniel Farke, could think I could win this if he wanted to put his first team out every time. It's bullshit. It is just how far down the pecking order it is. The league and the Champions League are just a quantum league above those cups for complex reasons we could talk about all day.
I think it's a little bit sad where we haven't had kind of that domestic cup success, because I kind of grew up on it and it meant something, and I know it doesn't mean as much now, so I understand the need to shuffle the pack, and I'm totally with the manager when he does that, and Robbo's right, the squad depth thing is an issue. But also, if you're one of the other clubs where you might think, well, we could maybe win a cup, we could win a League Cup, or we could give it a few places out in the league, you look at City and think the team that they're going to play, at some point you're probably going to have to beat them. And you think, well, can we be arsed trying to beat City? We're probably not going to be able to beat them. They've won 5 out of the last 6. So I think City and the teams that they pick almost skews it a little bit, where teams are looking at it now and think, can't be arsed with that. I've got a mate who's an Everton fan, and he was saying, under normal circumstances, Rafa coming in, he could almost see a scenario where they win a League Cup, but because of the way City kind of play the League Cup and they play such a strong team, he thinks, well, have we really got a chance at the League Cup this year? At some point, you're going to probably play City, and they play a really strong team in pretty much every round, which, as I say, it doesn't have to make a fucking massive difference. If you've got that squad where you can call on almost a second team, huge difference. I mean, Liverpool, when they go to Chelsea, I know it's the FA Cup, and I think Adrian plays, but apart from that, it's a fairly decent team that day. But you're going to Chelsea, Gilmour has the game of his life. They play a good side as well. I mean, fucking hell, give me something, give me some luck. Well, they've had no luck at all in the cups.
We always slaughter the cups though, don't we? And I've slowly got, I defended for a long time because of what you said, because of my own experiences with the cups and great ones. And I always think, like what you're saying there about, you're like, yeah, whatever type of thing. There will be, like a young version of Ian Ryan over on the peninsula there, who would love to see like the FA Cup and the red ribbons and see the bus go around town and go to the final and all that, because like this is a
fuck him, I would. I want to see that. I want to see that.
Yeah. Look at his little face.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still banging into that.
Over to James Street the day of the parade.
I'm still banging. I moved 2 years ago. I'm still banging into that. I'm still banging into it. I'm still banging. going to Wembley is still a big deal, but obviously there's a lot of shit you got to get through to get there. And because of what you said earlier on about the European games and messing around with the squad, you can totally understand why the manager doesn't want to flex at certain times, because he doesn't want to risk injuries. And it is back to that squad thing. But once you get to a certain point in the competition, that's the key.
So this is my thing is, we haven't, through no fault, I would argue, to an extent of Jurgen Klopp's or anything to do with Liverpool, we actually haven't got to get the question answered. So we're quite serious when we get to the League Cup semi-final under him.
Yeah.
You know, that's a really strong Liverpool team, and then they try to go and win it. And I think the question is, and even in 1920, they have the hardest lines with the Villa thing, where they play the Villa game the night before they're in Qatar.
Yeah.
And that's still ridiculous that went on. And it was a quarter-final. So what we didn't get to see was what would he do in a quarter of the League Cup?
Yeah.
What would he do if he got to the 6th round of an FA Cup? What would he do if they were 3 points off top and they're in an FA Cup semi-final?